How's it going, guys? TJ here, narrowslabs.com, Team Narrows, for all of your SARMs needs up into the coming year, which will be definitely interesting because we have recently found out that the United States has put a ban on for January 1st, 2020 for all SARMs. So, what does that mean? Basically, that means all SARMs will be considered the same thing as anabolic steroids. So, essentially, everything that we've been using, researching, to try and make our gains with legally, YK11, LGD, S4, S23, cardarine, all of them will be now very, very hard to get. Maybe not right away, but come halfway through the year or so, people will definitely be scraping to try and get their hands on raws and try and get their hands on these things because it's going to be a lot harder to get them than it has been. Basically, will they be impossible to get? Absolutely not. Nothing is ever impossible to get, no matter where you are. Obviously, there's still underground laboratories operating, producing anabolic steroids on a daily basis, and so probably thinking about the best options for people coming into this new year. And the number one thing that comes to my head is testosterone replacement therapy. So, testosterone replacement therapy, if you guys aren't aware, is basically you go see, your general doctor, your family doctor, whatever, and you tell them that you have low testosterone. You get your blood levels taken at the hospital or whatever and get your blood work done, and they tell you whether your test levels are high, low, normal, whatever, and judging on your test levels and your symptoms, they may just give you, a medication, testosterone cypionate injection, androgel, which honestly, in my opinion, is a waste. There's a few different options, but they give you a prescription for these things to replace your testosterone that you no longer make inside of your body. Now, there's a few reasons why somebody might have low testosterone. Number one, if age, getting mid-30s, 40s, 50s, testosterone level starts dropping, guys. That's just nature. That's what happens. So pretty much the TRT will put you back into a level that you would be making if you were in your late teens, 18, 19, 20 years old, depending on your doctor, and where you are getting your TRT from. Now, there will be offered here soon a TRT clinic that will be put together that you'll be able to contact and get a hold of, that you need to send your blood work in and make, all the arrangements and everything that's needed online, and you will be able to send your blood work along with some other things as far as your symptoms and whatever else that you're having, and your blood work will be looked at, and all of everything that you're going through will be looked over by a doctor, and you will be able to get a prescription for testosterone. That's right, legal TRT available for you guys who may not have it already and maybe having some TRT issues, which I think a lot of you guys who have been using SARMs over the last few years, you're definitely going to notice some kind of suppression just from cycling. And so I was just going to come to you guys and talk about the 5 biggest benefits of TRT that I've noticed myself. Now, I've been on TRT since, I want to say, 2014, 13, something like that, from chemotherapy when I was younger. I'm not that old right now, but about 10, 11 years ago, I was going through chemotherapy. And chemotherapy absolutely smoked my natural testosterone production. So getting blood work done and everything like that through my GP, I was prescribed 1 ml of testosterone cypionate 200 per week for my low testosterone. Now, number one thing that somebody that is on TRT is going to notice is probably your confidence and well-being. So I remember when I first started with TRT, like I said, the first thing I noticed after about a week, 2 weeks into the testosterone cypionate that I was taking, I noticed that I started to become more confident. I definitely felt an attitude change. That was probably the first thing that I noticed. An overall change in my attitude, less depressed, more energy, and just more confident overall. I felt like every day when I woke up, I wasn't dragging. I could, look at the day and actually, think to myself, all right, time to take charge, get done what I need to get done, go train, have a boss day at work, whatever it was. My confidence level definitely improved vastly with the addition of the actually normal or high to normal testosterone levels that were now going on inside my body. So that confidence also would be noted with interaction with the opposite sex. That's definitely something that most men will also notice, is that you have a lot more confidence as far as in your relationship, you'll have more confidence. And if you're single, you'll have more confidence approaching girls, it seems like. Whatever it is, obviously testosterone, the male sex hormone, it's going to lead to, more sexual desire as far as you desiring sex, that is. Maybe 8 weeks down the road after you're on TRT and everything's kicked in, you start seeing some more of the athletic gains and physique gains, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, so you're definitely going to notice that your sexual desire has gone up considerably. So you'll be actively pursuing more often than you normally would. That's something you'll notice, and you'll do so with much more confidence, which definitely goes noted by men and women both, but definitely picked up by women. I've definitely been told that in the past over the last handful, 10 years, decade or so, since I've been on TRT, that I seemed like I was pretty confident. And that's something that I definitely lacked, especially coming directly out of chemotherapy. So the second thing that you'll probably notice, and kind of tails in with the confidence and whatnot, is sexual performance. So sexual performance, like I stated earlier, testosterone is the male sex hormone. And basically, so long as you have high levels of testosterone and levels of estrogen that not necessarily match it, but are within the normal ratio of what they should be for a regular testosterone level, but mirrored with your elevated level, you can count on some absolutely crazy sexual performance. Not only will you desire it more, like I talked about earlier, but you will also just absolutely be able to go longer, be able to go harder, and be able to go faster. Performance-enhancing drugs generally have an effect on libido, but testosterone overall, like I said, so long as your estrogen level isn't completely crashed or super, super high, you're going to have a pretty good time in bed. That's for sure. And it definitely goes noted by your partners. They will definitely notice, especially if they know you before you're on it and after. They will definitely be able to tell a difference, which is something that I've definitely asked about and have gotten confirmation from, but you almost know it yourself. It's definitely something that you can see. You're just overall more primal. It's kind of hard to explain, but testosterone makes a person just be more happy, hungry, and horny, basically, is what I like to say. And it makes you good at eating food, having sex, lifting weights. All of these things that make men men is kind of what it seems like if you go back to, days back, however long, BC probably, and, cavemen, whatever. It was survival of the fittest. The person who had the most testosterone basically, had a better physique, had better hunting ability, was more mentally sharp, and that ultimately got them more food, more women, etc. And the same thing, nothing's really changed. If you have high testosterone levels, you're going to be able to eat a lot. You're going to be able to be able to perform in the bed, and you're going to be able to repeatedly be able to perform in the bedroom. It's something that really is quite astounding, actually, when you notice where you're at, especially if you have low testosterone levels, compared to where you can be when your testosterone levels are, in the high range of normal, or maybe even just above. superphysiological levels, obviously from cycling, which this is not what we're talking about here, but superphysiological levels from cycling obviously will be more intense. But the TRT most definitely puts you back in the game, I guess you could say, if you're out. I know many gentlemen that were having trouble with erectile dysfunction, and upon, starting and being a few weeks into TRT, no longer have that problem. So that's pretty much enough with the sexual performance. Another place, so for number thing that you can really look forward to also is athletic performance. So not only are you going to have the sexual performance boost, but your athletic performance obviously is going to go up so long as you are training, eating right, and all that stuff. You're definitely going to see it change, guys. You'll see long term, about a year after taking testosterone, I've noticed in other people who don't necessarily weight train that they definitely have a change in their physique and in their body, and they just look more manly, kind of. If you look at people who are natural and don't lift weights, you can tell kind of who has more testosterone and who doesn't. Just as a rule of thumb, guys who have a little bit of muscle to them naturally and are kind of, built naturally, and have that physique, they're born with it because it's in their genetics. It's in their DNA to have higher testosterone levels, and that in turn, makes them have a better physique naturally. But anybody who's lifting weights, of course, is going to be able to maximize the amount of physical gains that they can get and that they're able to acquire, judging on their testosterone levels. So pretty much just like, you look in sports and everything like that, everybody starts at a different spot and everybody's at a different spot naturally. If you look at, say, like, in tested sports, everybody says that people who use steroids in tested sports, or people that use steroids in sports in general, are cheating. But if everybody was allowed to use juice, there would definitely be more of a level playing field, because you can't change the way you feel or what your body makes naturally. You can, but it's very, very hard. So if you allowed, performance enhancing drugs in sports, in my opinion, it would equal and level the playing field, because everybody would be able to, ingest these things, testosterone, etc., and be able to, have super physiological levels, which naturally, none of us can have super physiological levels naturally, obviously, but just, as it is, there could be men who make 400 nanograms per deciliter, and there could be people who make 1,200 nanograms per deciliter, and they definitely are going to see a big, big difference between what they're able to do just because of the differentiation in their testosterone levels, which, like I said before, naturally, you can't really change your natural levels. So more or less, your athletic performance when you're on TRT, because the doctors do put you into a high range of normal and or over that, you will definitely see, performance as far as, if you can run, jump, lift, anything like that is going to be better. You're going to get faster, you're going to get stronger, you're going to get bigger. And the better that your diet is, and the better and harder that you're training, the faster it'll happen and the more gains you'll see. So, that's 3 things right off the rip that I can tell that, are definite benefits to testosterone replacement therapy. Now, there's probably another thing, I guess, that we could talk about here is, keeping your gains from cycling. So let's talk about, like I said, Narrows Labs, for example, guys out there who have been taking SARMs. Anybody that has taken SARM cycles most likely has been suppressed at some time while on cycle, and or has had to take off-cycle ancillary drugs to reboot their testosterone production because the SARMs are suppressive. After coming off of, runs of LGD or YK11 or whatever stack that you're taking, most generally it's advised that you take a post-cycle therapy, similar to anybody who is taking a cycle of any sort of anabolic steroid. So more or less Nolvadex, Clomid, HCG, those are all things that people who have been cycling and researching with SARMs in, the past few years, you're all recommended to take the same post-cycle therapy as somebody who has been using anabolic steroids. So if you don't take that, your natural testosterone levels aren't going to be very good, and you're going to lose a lot of your gains. So being on TRT, which I have been for many years, like I said before, it enables you to keep your gains. So if you are someone who's going to continue to use SARMs into the new year, TRT would be good for you because you don't ever have to come off of it. So you could be taking the TRT and stack the SARMs on top of it. And then when you come off the SARMs, you still have your prescription testosterone as your baseline. And that's much better usually than somebody who, naturally, obviously, if they have low testosterone, you come off of your RAD 140, YK11, and MK677 cycle feeling like a beast, and then you start running on your natural production, which if you've been suppressed because you've been on those compounds for 8 weeks or so, you're not going to have that great of testosterone production to begin with. And since you're on cycle, it's just going to be even worse. So coming back down to a base level of testosterone, whether that be anywhere from, 150, 250, 350, 450, sometimes all the way up to 500 milligrams per week of testosterone, you can absolutely keep gaining once you come off cycle with your SARMs, and you can also plan on keeping any gains that you have made while you were cycling SARMs. So when you were, taking the MK677 and the RAD 140 and the YK11, you were a beast. And if you come off and you just drop down to TRT, you're going to be able to maintain that beastliness that you required just by taking, the SARMs products, hopefully from Narrows Labs, that you have been taking. You're going to keep all those gains. So definitely recommended for people who are bodybuilders, people who are athletes, stuff like that. You get your prescription, you have your baseline testosterone level, which is always going to be high range and normal or above, which is absolutely where you want it to be. Then you cannot absolutely go wrong. You're going to keep everything that you gain, and you're going to continue to progress and not regress, which is definitely discouraging. Taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back can get very old. So the last thing, I guess, is your general overall health. So low testosterone levels definitely can make people depressed. They can make people unhappy. They can make people lazy. They can, it can lead to heart disease, guys. This is definitely a big deal. Low testosterone is not something to really play with. It's not horrible, but, it's not a cancer sentence, or a cancer diagnosis. Sorry. I can say sentence because I've been through the chemo and stuff like that. It is kind of like a sentence. But anyway, the overall health, if you have low testosterone, you're at risk for all the things that I list before. And that's definitely not fun, guys. Having low testosterone definitely attributes to depression. I remember being depressed because I had no energy, being depressed because I wasn't as, as desiring of sex. I didn't have really much interest in the opposite sex for a little while there. All those things, when I went through the chemo and my test levels dropped, everything kind of changed. And bringing TRT into the mix, it definitely brought me back. And that's one thing that I can definitely say is the TRT will bring the old you back, or it'll bring life into the you that you don't even know. And that's something that's really, really huge and something that I think needs to be spread. So those are the 5, benefits of testosterone replacement therapy that I can think of off the top of my head that are the best, and it pretty much covers everything. If you stay tuned, I believe there's something underway right now to where we will be able to provide some sort of testosterone replacement therapy to you guys in a legal manner. So you'll be able to send your blood work in along with your testimony as far as what symptoms that you're having and the issues that you're having with your low testosterone. And you'll be able to talk to a doctor, etc., and get yourself a prescription for legal testosterone. So the best thing I think with this ban in effect for any of you guys who have been using Narrows Labs to purchase SARMs and to experiment with them if you want to keep your gains rolling into the new year, I think that the TRT thing is definitely a good idea and definitely probably your best move, because everything will be legal, everything will be on the up and up, and you'll be able to acquire not only testosterone, but growth hormone, other sort of anabolics that have been available in the past for people with wasting diseases and stuff like that, nandrolone, Anavar, etc. All that stuff is going to be available through these clinics that that the guys over at Narrows Labs are kind of putting together right now. So I'm just going to be here to be the first one to tell you guys that that's something that's coming up on the forefront. My coupon code, TJ25, will absolutely be in effect for that testosterone replacement therapy clinic, hormone replacement therapy clinic, whichever it is that you go down. That'll be up between you and the doctor. But code TJ25 will most definitely be usable with the website. So you'll be able to get that 25% off, free shipping, whatever benefits that my code has given you for years now with Narrows, you'll be able to get with the hormone replacement / testosterone replacement clinics. So that being said, TJ from Narrows Labs, www.narrowslabs.com, signing out. But definitely, guys, looking forward to the new year, looking forward to making a bunch of gains with you guys. Definitely look into the new clinics that are coming in hot, coming at you, and let's take advantage of it and absolutely continue the gains. So have a good one, guys.